Bonjour, peeps. That's Potawatomi for hello, bonjour, peeps. Peeps are our Star Nations community. Hi there. It's Monday afternoon, October 29th, and it's a beautiful day here in Toma, Wisconsin. We started out kind of cold and cloudy, a little drizzly, but this afternoon is shaping up to be really, really beautiful out. I wish I could do the live stream outside, and I'm going to try to figure that out. Hopefully by spring, so that before the mosquitoes get too bad, we can actually have maybe a few of the live streams out on the deck, which is right behind me through the French doors. It's one of my favorite places to sit and watch the squirrels and listen to the trees and that sort of thing. So I thought it'd be nice to share it with you. You're watching the live stream from our main fan page here on Facebook, and it is the Star Nations Magazine Radio Network and Publishing fan page for Star Nations. I do the daily live stream from this page 99.9% of the time. There's that 0.01% where I accidentally might do the broadcast from the publishing page, which I've done at least once. Oh my gosh, and I wasn't going to stop the broadcast just to switch it to this page. So anyway, that was probably last week or the week before, something like that. So I'm going to take my phone and I am going to share out the broadcast, the live stream. And we do this for a few reasons, obviously, so that people will be able to come and watch the broadcast, right? But it's also helpful for those people who, they might just get a little busy and they thought, I'm going to watch that this afternoon. And because I know I've done this. Time gets away on me and I realize, it's beyond, the time that the show starts. And so I'm just going to share it to my timeline and to get that going. And just so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. And I'm live streaming right now. Please join me. There we go. And that way my friends know that I'm doing this. We're going to post that. And I'm going to actually share to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group and probably the Academy as well. And so that because that's where the most of the Star Nations community members hang out, and that is at the radio network. And so I'm just going to say, hello, peeps. And let them know that I'm live streaming. And to please join me. There we go. And we're going to do that to the closed group for the radio network and also for the Academy. There, it's done. It doesn't take long. There we go. And we want to make sure, got to get my sound down. We don't get all squelchy. There we go. I just want to make sure that that my phone is good to go, just in case the comments don't come in through the chat. I can always check my phone. Hey, Rochelle's here. Good afternoon, Rochelle. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you for sharing. Ow. George, the puppy, is sleeping, and he just turned over on his back, and he was kicking his back legs, and I got kicked. He's getting big. He's 30 pounds. Yeah. He was being a 3-month-old puppy, got himself into a little bit of trouble this morning just before lunch, and had to do a timeout. And I went to go pick him up to put him into his crate, and he's getting to be a big boy. There's going to come a time pretty soon I'm not going to be able to pick him up and put him in his crate. So too funny. So listen, I have to share this with you before we get started with the cards. You know how I always say, bring your favorite beverage and come join the spiritual conversation here at this live stream, right? And so most of the time I have coffee, water, sometimes I'll have iced tea or something like that, right? Well, today I decided to brew myself some tea, and I made green tea, which I don't do. I mean, it's not that I don't like green tea. I just don't think about it, right? To make it. And I just took my first drink of it, my first sip, and even the aroma of it, I had a really strong memory of sitting in my grandparents' kitchen. My grandmother, whenever you went there, she always, she was always asking would you like some tea? And you never said no. And so when my mom would stop in, of course, we were always with her, right? We would also get tea, no matter how old we were. We could be really little and we'd still get tea. But it was always green tea, always. And so the smell of it and the taste of it put me right back into my grandmother's kitchen drinking green tea. Now, sometimes they would put sugar in it for us, sometimes not, depending on. My grandparents weren't wealthy people. They lived on subsistence basically, and but they always took care of relatives. Whoever stopped in, they always got a meal. They always got something to drink, water, tea, something. And so for my grandmother to always share something when you came through her door was no small thing. It wasn't. Lots of times my mom would take over, some stuff because we weren't rich either, but we shared what we had with my grandparents, and so I just had a nice little memory of my grandmother serving tea, brewing getting the hot water. She did have a gas stove, but their home was heated with I think it was oil. They went from wood heat to oil heat, if I remember right. And her stove was a gas stove, and it was a small stove. It's nothing like what we have today. It's more of an apartment size stove. They didn't have running water. We had to haul water for them from the pump house, and so doing dishes was always when they say it's a chore, it really was, because you had to heat the water. And then you had to pour it into a basin and mix it with cold water or room temperature water, actually. There was never cold water to do the dishes. And you filled another pan to rinse the dishes. And so so we always had to make sure that before we left that they had their buckets full of their drinking water. Isn't it strange? And when I was a kid, they didn't have an indoor bathroom. It wasn't until after my grandmother passed away in 1973 that the bathroom was added, and running water was piped into the house, and that was in 1973. Imagine that. So I think I was in 8th grade in 1973. All those memories from one sip of tea and the smell of green tea. Too funny. Good memories, though. Good memories. So drawing the cards this morning, I met with my spiritual team, and this is the first card that came. And it's not that it didn't quite surprise me, but yet I went, huh. And I really shuffled those cards really well. Shield Maiden popped back up. We had her yesterday. Make plans and focus. Make plans and focus. Yeah. And I was talking to my spiritual team and saying, okay, so this makes, I think, third or fourth time with the Shield Maiden. So what have we not covered? What have we not talked about or shared about regarding the Shield Maiden? Yeah. And so I'm just going to do a little refresher of your memory of who and what the Shield Maiden is and what she does. Yeah. Page 72. Page 72. Hey, Barb. Hey, Barb. I just got, I don't know if you heard me sharing some of my memories of our grandmother's kitchen. Do you remember that? Our grandparents' kitchen on Highway 12? The only place I ever known them to live. Of course, I was second from the youngest, and so by the time it got to me, they didn't move around much from city to city or township to township. So I'm drinking green tea. That's what caused the memory. I don't know if you remember that, Barb, but going to their house and having been served green tea. Yeah, just the smell of it took me right back to that kitchen, and not so much, conversations or anything like that, but just the kitchen and what it looked like, and where the table was at before they put the bathroom addition on, and those kinds of things. It was nice memories, good ones. So here's the Shield Maiden. This is the first card that came this morning, and this is third or fourth time that we've gotten the Shield Maiden. Make plans and focus. It says, have a plan or strategy in place before moving forward. And the Shield Maiden is actually the female knight in shining armor, and that she is fiercely feminine energy, the power to be a warrior while retaining feminine sensitivity. She's ready to put her plan into action, and she's ready to go into battle. Her medicine helps us to move beyond any unsettled feelings when our plans start to take shape and follow through with our strategies in order to be where we want to be. The Shield Maidens work together, and with their shields, they would create a protective wall, right? And in some cases, they would actually push their opponent backwards. They would literally, with their own momentum, start physically pushing them backwards. Kyle Gregg goes on to say, taking some time to assess what your next steps will be, all great warriors have a plan. He says, you are a sensitive being, and if you are not prepared for the tasks you're taking on, you could end up feeling exposed and helpless. The ancestor guidance that is coming to you now is a reminder that you have a warrior's heart and that you have it within you to be more prepared and focused than you've ever been recently. And, just reading that again, just that information, we've been talking about our creation, our manifestations for quite a long time now, a few weeks, right? And so this morning when I got this card again, there was this one sentence that really kind of jumped out at me. It says, see if I can find it now. Her medicine helps us move beyond any unsettled feelings when our plans start to take shape and follow through with our strategies in order to be where we want to be. The strategies. So, what's that old saying? Make a plan your work and work your plan. I think that's it. Even though we're talking about a spiritual process, we still have to work through it on the earth plane. So making our plans, right? And with the Shield Maiden, because sometimes especially now, in this environment, in this energy field that we're in, we haven't ever experienced it in this physical world, using our gifts in a higher vibration. And I really do think that the Shield Maiden card keeps coming up because it's her energy or essence that can help us through maybe those sticky spots or those places where we're feeling unsure of ourselves, right? Second guessing ourselves, because we all do that. Trusting our own intuition is good. And what happens, though, a lot of times is that we'll have that intuition and then we'll start thinking about it. And our mental mind starts to engage in thought and thinking, maybe that wasn't quite right. Maybe that was just my imagination, or how am I supposed to know that? I can't believe I just saw that, or I just heard that. Our intuition, spirit speaking to us, showing us, right? All those synchronicities that come to us. And sometimes what we do is like almost in denial, right? It's like, I can't believe I just saw that, or I just felt that. And so we second guess ourselves. And when we do that, we deny our spiritual gifts. We deny that we're spiritual beings. Yeah. And when we do that, our self-confidence goes down. And so it's good to call on our spiritual team. And the essence of a shield maiden, a warrior, a female warrior, to call on that aspect and say, I need help. I was going really well, and now I'm doubting myself. How can I move through this with more self-confidence? I used to always ask the same question when early on in my studies and experiencing, the spiritual side of things, right? And I'd be talking to my spiritual team, and I'd be asking them, this is my intention, this is my goal. What's my next best step to achieve that goal? And so it almost felt sometimes methodical. I would achieve one thing, one piece of it. And it's like, okay, that's in place. What's the next piece? How do I get there? What's my next best step? And so I felt like at least I was moving forward. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't have occasions where I felt stuck, or didn't feel like I had what it would take. And so it was building that confidence. There was a long time where I didn't even share intuition with others. I'd just kind of sit back and wait to see what would happen, if it would come true. And, and many times it did. And I wouldn't say anything, because at that point, once it's already happened and you say something, and it's like, yeah, but why didn't you say something before? We could have done something. We could have used that, or, something like that. And the reason why you don't say anything is because you're doubting yourself. It's like, what if it's not true and I say something? Then what happens? And then we're caring about what other people say or think more than we trust ourselves. So we're really looking outside of ourselves rather than within, and I think that's all about soul growth. Don't you think? That we should be trusting ourselves. Yeah. So anyway, Shield Maiden. That's who came first time. And I have to tell you, whenever I put the cards back into the deck, I always put them in randomly. They just don't lay on the top, right? I put them back randomly. And I knock on the cards in the mornings before we get started. And then I call to my spiritual team and I state my intention. And then I start shuffling the cards. And this morning it was shuffle, 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 and then shuffle some more, and then shuffle some more. And I was thinking, gee, am I even supposed to draw a card this morning? That's how long it took. And it's like, yeah, just keep going. And so, all right, here I am shuffling. And so a few minutes later, this card jumped out and it landed face down. And so when I turned it over, I thought, oh my goodness, you're back. What do we have to share about the Shield Maiden that we haven't already done? And so when I read that one sentence, that's the feeling I had anyway. That's the piece. Because when we bring one of our desires, right? Something that we would like in our life, a change, or possibly a new vehicle, or a new place to live, a new job, um, a parking spot. I do that a lot too. Um, no matter what it is, when spirit brings it to us, well, sometimes we decline it because it didn't show up the way we thought it was going to show up, which is a whole another case. But this one, the way the cards are reading for the last 3 weeks is that whatever it was that you were manifesting, bringing into the physical world, literally came into your home. Now, it doesn't mean that you even noticed it. It could have been really, really subtle in that change, but it was here. It is here. And then we got cards about grounding it to the earth plane, right? Using our gifts to do that. And then once we did that, then we started getting these cards, which is making plans and focus. In other words, making a plan and how we're going to move this creation, this change, this shift, whatever it was. It's in the earth plane, but how do we get it to our complete goal, our intention, right? And so then we had to make a plan. All right. Then when we talked about that and shared that, then it was, now you have to work the plan. And now you have to, this is where the soul growth is. Stepping out there, maybe sharing some things with others that you haven't done in the past, using your gifts in a way that is possibly different or brand new to you. The tools that we've learned along the way, the education that we've had, using it just a little bit differently or a lot of differently. Hey, Stephanie, just joined us. Good to have you here. And so when the Shield Maiden comes back today, again, a return visit, I really think it's about moving beyond any unsettled feelings. When our plans start to take shape and follow through with our strategies in order to be where we want to be. Yeah, because when we put ourselves out there, the vulnerabilities, the sensitivities, right? Sometimes we're encountering people or energy that aren't comfortable, and possibly interference or blocking your path to your goal with your intention. And so we have to use our gifts in a good way, right? In a good way, good medicine. And so I think that's where we're at right now. Yep. And trusting ourselves, trusting our intuition. And so the Shield Maiden can help us to do that. We can call on that aspect and for assistance to move through whatever that is. Maybe to feel safer. Maybe to feel the protection, right? Maybe it is to have the stamina of a warrior to be able to move through an interference. Yeah. I know, Stephanie, right? She says, wow, Shield Maiden keeps showing up. I know. Stephanie, if you could have seen my face this morning when the card came out, because it jumped out of the deck, landed face down on the floor. When I picked it up and turned it over, I thought, you again. What have we not covered? What have we not covered? And so when I sat down to read the information, to go over it one more time, and the feeling I got was is that we're in this new energy field. We're at a higher frequency. Our vibrations have changed. They have to. In order for us to even be here on Grandmother Earth, we have to match her vibration, or at least, within the frame, the space, the, what's that called? The range, the vibrational range. And so we could be using our gifts maybe in a different way, or they feel different than they have in the past. We have these tools that we've learned along the way, classes that we've taken, books that we've read. We're applying them in a different frequency. And so we really do have the possibility of feeling more vulnerable. Yeah, doubting ourselves. Yeah. And so when we can call on our spiritual team for assistance, energy or an essence like the Shield Maiden, who can come in and literally stand between us and maybe an interference, whether it's another person or another being, until we can get our bearings, right? And can help us remember that we have a heart of the warrior. We can do this. We manifest this change. We manifested it. And so it's our responsibility to ground it to the earth plane, which we've done. And now it's to implement the plans to get it to the goal, to the completion, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that was the feeling I had when this came up. And then what I did was I asked my team to please show me. I said, we need more clarity to really understand what is the message from the Shield Maiden, right? Yum, green tea. And this is the card that came. Guardian Angel, you're not alone. Yeah. A lot of sacred geometry here. You have the Merkaba in the background. You have the moon, and I think that's the symbol for the sun. And then you have the all-seeing eye. You have that God's eye, right? Creator's eye up at the top. And, feathers, white ones in particular, many believe those are messages from their angels, and especially the white feathers. In my world, it's all feathers, is that the angels, the ancestors, spirit is wanting your attention and letting you know that they're here. And our spiritual team, which is made up of angels, guides, spiritual teachers in spirit, is a good way to put it, power animals, totems, everyone that is in spirit on our team, helping us to work through our soul contract, to see it to completion, right? And they're here to help us, to guide us. Whenever we ask, show me how this works. I need such and such, a resource. If it would be really helpful if I had really good daycare for George for when I need to run errands or to do something for my mom, to make sure that he's taken care of. And, and that happened in 2 days. I asked for it and it came in 2 days. So we have to ask them. If we don't ask them, they can't help us. They're not the ones living and experiencing this physical life. We are. And so I have this really good imagination, And sometimes what I do is I imagine that my spiritual team, there's a lot of them. It's just not one or two. We have hundreds helping us, sometimes even in the thousands helping us. And so we need to call them all together when we're asking for something, not just one or two, but all of them, because we're not completely aware of um, everything that they're capable of, and who has the most experience in certain areas. And so when we ask for help, we should be asking our entire team, and actually letting them know that we all have to be on the same page, working in the same direction, right? Um, yeah, better use of energy. So anyway, we have to ask them. And so in my imagination, this is what I have them doing when they're waiting for me to ask, right? Is that they're sitting around playing cards or dominoes or some board game or something like that, waiting for me. And so one of them will say, it's like, oh, here we go. She's going to ask. Nope, false alarm. She got that close to asking and she didn't. She thought she was going to do it on her own again. All right, who's shuffle? Who's deal? And they wait, and then they say, okay, we need to give her some assistance here. Show her that sign again. Show her that thing in the clouds again, or show her that feather. Drop a feather in her path. Or like the other day, I found a dime in here on the floor. The only other person here is Paul. And so I asked him if that was his dime, and he said no. And I said, well, somebody's dropping dimes on me again. And usually that's my dad. That's my dad. And so, so they're doing that all the time, right? But they can't help us until we ask. And so when I ask, it's like, it's almost like it's like, yay, we're going to get to work now. Let's see, what can we do? What can we do to help? Hey, Adriana, good to have you in the chat. It's always good to see your name and your face there. For those who just arrived, here, this is the second card that came. Guardian Angel, you're not alone. Isn't that a pretty card? So let's look up Guardian Angel, and we'll see how that all fits together. So the message is, watch for signs and reminders from your angels and loved ones that they're close by. Remember, they're working hard to guide you. And that's an interesting question for those that are in the live chat. Do you have signs that have been left for you by spirit to let you know that they're there? Everybody has, it seems to me anyway, everybody has a little something that they're connected to. A good friend of mine, hers are pennies. I think it was pennies. Yeah, I think it was pennies. Face up usually, and that's from her father. There's another lady I know that when she sees a cardinal, she knows that's from her grandmother. Those kinds of things, signs and symbols that our angels, that our ancestors, that our loved ones are close. Some people actually have an aroma. For my mom, when she smells citrus, it's my dad. When there's certain pipe smoke that she smells, it's my grandfather. Mine, again, with my dad, is usually like Old Spice, or Brill Cream scent. Things like that. George, that's George. He's got an itch, and he keeps hitting the table. Rochelle says, I find pennies all the time. Yeah, pennies from heaven. Isn't that? There's a song like that too. So I wonder, Rochelle, do you ever tune in to see, is that an angel? Is that an ancestor? Who's leaving you the pennies? Do you ever tune into it? I'm sure you have. Rochelle is very good at energy work. Do you have running water? Hearing it. Actually, you know what that is? That is water. That is the, we have in-floor heating. so radiant heat, and so that is the water heater. So it's heating the water. Yeah. Oh, you got good hearing. Usually the mic doesn't pick that up. Yeah. That's what it is. And it should be cutting off pretty soon. It's warming the floor. And so she's saying angel. Yeah. That's who's leaving you the pennies. So usually when we're getting the nudge like that, they have something for us, right? Yeah. And what about those triple numbers? I get a lot of triple numbers. I do. The one I really don't like to see too often is a 333. And the numerology that I do, a 333 is there's I have a decision to be made. And in that decision, when I make the decision, it's either it's something that we're starting brand new, because the next number that I see, which is, if it's brand new, it's going to be a 666, or it's going to be a 999, which means that it's done, it's complete. And so that 333. Because a lot of times I don't know what decision about what. I need more information, and so that also leads to a conversation with my spiritual team, right? And spending more time with them. Yeah. Rochelle says, and I don't have my hearing aids in. Well, well, I don't know what that is then. Yeah, that is just the hot water tank heating the water for the flooring. Okay, so here's Kyle. He's saying that guardian angel card shows the white feather that has become known as the guardian angel's business card. Whenever a white feather appears in your life, or in this card appears in a reading, it's a message to say your guardian angel and ancestor guides are particularly close at this time and are there to support you with their love. If you have asked for help with a particular situation, know that there is divine intervention at work. All right. So we had the Cheryl Maiden, right? And I think that seeing her again is really about using our gifts and our tools in a higher vibration, a higher frequency, and possibly doubting ourselves, our ability, right? Our intuition, and feeling vulnerable in that, possibly more than you've ever felt before. Because for those of us who've been around the block a few times, right? We have a certain way of working and a certain way of sensing energy and spirit. And in the new frequency, which is a higher frequency, it's slightly different. And in some cases, it's very different. And so if we're second guessing ourselves, if we're doubting, sometimes even in denial, that it's possible that our ancestors, our angels, when we ask for assistance and guidance, that we have to remember that they're there to give it to us. We're not on this journey alone. Far from it. There's hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of those in spirit that are helping us. Can you imagine in a soul group? See? The water thing just shut off. So it should be quieter, Rochelle. All right, so take this into consideration. Take this into consideration. We travel in soul groups, right? We're in more than one soul group. Some of them kind of overlap. Like the families we were born into, that's a soul group. The clans that we're born into, that's our soul group. There's also those people in our lives that are possibly not blood relatives, but they've been with us for a long time friends. They're in a soul group. There's people that we've become friends with, and we hang out in communities like this. That's a soul group. And each one of us has a spiritual team. And the number of those on that spiritual team is more than just a couple, more than just a handful. We're talking hundreds, thousands that are helping each one of us in spirit. And so can you imagine when we get together in a small group, even if it's just, 5 or 6 of us, how many of our spiritual team are there with us? That's a lot. That's a lot. And so when we turn to them for assistance, if we just turn just to our guardian angel, oh my goodness, that guardian angel has been with us through multiple lifetimes. Multiple. That spirit knows us the best. They've been with us from the beginning, from the very beginning. So they know our weaknesses. They know our strengths. They know the wisdom that we've gained from all those past life lessons. They know all of that. So what better spirit, what better energy to rely on and say, hey, I need help. How am I supposed to do this? How do I have the tools to get this done? And of course they're going to show you. Of course you do. Of course you do. Stephanie says 333 shows up all the time for me. I know. Especially when we're going through really challenges, right? Sometimes, even that dark night of the soul stuff, I had 333 showing up all the time, to the point, Stephanie, I would say, no, not again. I don't want to make any more decisions. I'm not in a place to make any decisions. And of course, I was in resistance at that time. And yeah, they were just trying to help. So one of the things that I found very helpful is to make sure that you're grounded and you're balanced, and you can start dowsing. Because sometimes, I need to narrow this down. Decisions about what? There's so many things that could be. It could be what part of my life is it from? And so then I would start dowsing. Is it family? Is it marital? Is it health? Is it, and start narrowing it down. And so that was very helpful for me anyway. It was, and to be able to get down to at least to the area of my life that needs decisions. And once you get down to the area of my life, it was simpler, a little bit easier anyway, to realize, oh, it's about that. Oh yeah, that's right. I do have to make a decision about that. And so it was easy for me to be able to then step into that piece and make that decision. But just to see the 333, what decision? It could be multiple areas that needs a decision, especially when you're running a multimedia business. It could be in any one of the areas. Yeah, so I just used dowsing. It helped me a great deal, narrow it down. So the rest of the message here about the guardian angel is everyone has a guardian angel who has been with them in all their past lifetimes and will be there in all the lifetimes to come. So know that you are never alone and never will be alone. The card is a huge reminder that there is always help and support available to you. And I think that's a key sentence there. This card is a huge reminder that there's always help and support available to you. Your guardian angel is with you now and is here to aid you in all of your endeavors. Not just one, not just two, but the whole thing. the whole thing. In order to fully receive their support, first ask for it, then surrender to the process. Know that whatever unfolds will be for your highest good. And as two-leggeds, as humans, that probably is the hardest piece to do because we get impatient. We want it now. And we don't want to wait for it, and we want it exactly the way we want it. Even though we may not know all the details. Yeah. Hey, Jessica in the camps here. Oh my goodness, Jessica. Thanks for being in the chat with us. Yeah, it is. And Rochelle says, that's nice. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That we're never alone. Never. Our guardian angel, that energy, that spirit has been with us since the moment our soul was conceived. Whenever that was. Could have been eons ago. It could have been thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. It may not even been on this planet. It could have been on a different planet. But that spirit has been with you from that moment to this moment, through all of those lifetimes. I find that comforting. And when I get really in the trenches, you know what I mean? Last year was rough. And, and there were times it's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm lost. I don't even know which way's east kind of thing. And I always know which way is east. And so I would turn. That's who I turned to, was my higher self and my guardian angel. It's like, I really need help here. And so, and it came. It didn't come exactly in that next moment. Sometimes I had to wait a little bit, but it came. There were days where I would say, where are you guys? Like, I need help now. I don't need help next week. I need help right now. And so, yeah, got to talk to them. And sometimes we have to be patient, and that's not in human nature to be patient. And I learned something about that. When you want to be patient, don't ask for patience, because you know what you're going to get? You're going to get the opportunity to practice patience. In other words, you're going to start getting situations, events in your life that's going to teach you about patience. Do you know what I mean? So if you want patience in your life, if you want to be patient, you have to say, I am patient. I am. I'm patient. Not that I want to be patient. Not that I have to learn about patience, or I'm trying to be patient. Because what you're going to end up getting is more events and occurrences in your life where it's going to be trying your patience. So I learned that one kind of the hard way. I am patient. I am patient. And sometimes I have to take a big, deep breath in on the exhale and say, I'm patient. I'm patient. For a while there, it was a mantra. All right. So then we have these two cards that came together, right? And remember, the intention for the card draw is what is the energy that's most important for us to know about today? Today. And the Shield Maiden makes another appearance. along with the guardian angel. And I really do feel that the Shield Maiden is about using our gifts and our talents in this new creation that we brought into the earth plane, whatever that is for you. And as you're working with it and moving it forward, going toward that goal that you set for yourself, so you've got a strategy, you have a plan in place, or at least an outline of some sort. And then when we start using our gifts and our tools in this higher frequency that we're in, that everybody is in, right? That you find that you possibly could be doubting yourself, feeling vulnerable. And if you have an interference or something blocking your path, and the old way of dealing with it isn't working, not as well as you'd like it to work, we need help, right? We need help. And so I think the Shield Maiden information is about that, and saying that you have a heart of a warrior. You can work with this, but you need help. So in comes the guardian angel, is to remember to ask for help. Help me, show me that my next best step. This is the direction I'm going in. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is my intention. What's my next best step? You know, if you need resources, ask for it. Ask for it. Be as thorough with that as you can. You know, you want it to be affordable, but you want it to have quality and safety. Whatever it is to make it the very best that you would like. And ask for it. And then what you have to do is let it go. Step aside. And let spirit do what spirit needs to do to bring that to you. But asking your guardian angel for help, your angels, your ancestors for help. That's what I think is going on with these cards. That's the feeling I get anyway. So what do you guys think about that? Have you asked for help? Have you remembered to do that? Because, a lot of times what we do is, as those two-leggeds, we get caught up in stuff in our life and all the stuff that goes inside of it. And we feel like we have to do everything on our own, or nearly everything on our own. And we forget that we need to ask for help. We can. That opportunity is there all the time for us. Every moment, that possibility is there for us. Yeah. It's interesting. So how many of you guys have asked for help just today alone? I have. I did. A couple of times. Working on the magazine, November issue. And I am prepping the articles to get laid out. And so I'm the one who finds the photographs sometimes for the articles. And I had 2 articles that needed photographs, and it just wasn't coming. Nothing was clicking. And so I had to say, okay, I need to find a picture for this article, for this writer. And please bring the picture. Show me where I need to go to find it. And then I step away for a while. I go take a break. And I come back, and we give it another go and find the pictures, right? And Rochelle's saying, I had to find this the hard way. Never pray for patience. No, because you get more occurrence of events where you have to do patience, and instead of being it, you're working on it all the time. You're welcome, Rochelle. She's saying great information. Namaste. Namaste to you too, Rochelle. So, I say this every day. If the information that we shared resonated with you, my suggestion is you embrace it. Pick it up, grab it, hold on to it. See how the day, sense how the day's energy is unfolding for you. And notice where this information fits for you. Yeah. And if you're a direct participant or a witness, either way, it's good. If it didn't resonate with you, no worries, none whatsoever, nothing. It's okay. It just wasn't for you, and that's all right. And sometimes we're just the messenger. Sometimes if you know somebody who could use the information or enjoy the conversation, you can just share the link with them. And that's all you have to do, right? And you can let the rest of it go. That's all right. Yeah. Hey, Laura Fiddler. Good to have you in the house. We're just finishing up. And Jackie just joined us too. Hey, Jackie. And Jessica in the camp says, I did. She asked for help. She asked her spiritual team for help today. That is great. That, there's a lot of times we don't even acknowledge that we asked for help. Why? Because I don't know. Maybe sometimes we feel like, that shows a weakness, and it's not. In fact, in my world, it shows a strength. It's a strength. It's telling me that you know yourself well enough that when you need help, you ask for it. Whether it's a two-legged or whether it's somebody, a spirit on your team, right? So enjoy the rest of your Monday. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, Tuesday, October 30th. We got a few things going on tomorrow. We have chakra sessions with Polly Jola Bay at noon Eastern. And then we have this live stream at 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern. And then we also have Communications from Home, which is my weekly live stream. And that's at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be doing the Unity Breath Meditation. It's the last Tuesday of the month. And that is an ancient meditation, and we'll be doing it together. It's all about love, bringing our frequency up to the frequency of love. And so, and then Wednesday, Polly Joe's back with Soul Connections, and that's all about healing and more healing. If you're an energy worker, a light worker who hasn't taken care of their own healing, Wednesday nights is a good time to do that. Get to do it together, right? You bring in your own intention and your own team, your spiritual team, and Polly Joe provides the sacred space and the guided meditation to work through it. And then she does individual card draw. So it's kind of like a mini reading. And so if you enjoy those, you can always join her for that. That's Wednesday night, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hey, Ann, we're just finishing up. Let's see. I think that's about it. It's been a full hour, that's for sure. I'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 p.m. for the card draw information. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.